It's classy, it's quirky, it's exciting, it's thrilling. I know, it sounds like it's too good to be true. What is It's Too Good to Be True? Is that actually a show? It's a good name for a show. We should commission it. Anyway, let's move on because it's time to check in for the Flight Attendant. Hello and welcome to Screen OD. If it's your first time here, my name is Tim. I'm a journalist and an editor who's been writing and talking about TV and movies for nearly 15 years. Today, we have a treat for you because we're going to be looking at the second season of The Flight Attendant. But don't worry, if you haven't seen the first, we are going to try and keep this completely spoiler-free. So you can go back and watch the first one and you can watch the second one if you've already seen the first one, if you understand. Yeah, I know it can get complicated sometimes when we're doing the second season of shows. Right, before we get started, a quick reminder that if you haven't already, subscribing to Screen OD will make your streaming life better. You'll get all the best content direct to your feed. And if you like the video, if you find it entertaining, exciting, or in any way informative, why not hit that like button? And then more people across the internet will get to see this video. Right, The Flight Attendant. It's one of those shows that's not exactly what you think it's going to be.
I met Alex on the plane.
Hi.
Hey. We had dinner in Bangkok. We went back to his hotel.
There's no escape. I can't It's dangerous. I'm loving it.
When I woke up in the morning, he was so alive.
The Flight Attendant is, as you may have expected from the title, a show about a flight attendant. The flight attendant in question is Cassie, who is played by Kaley Cuoco. Now, first of all, we should talk about Kaley Cuoco, who many of you will know as Penny from The Big Bang Theory. And in fact, it's a part that Cuoco played for over a decade. And I'm sure there's a lot of people when they first tuned into this show, maybe expecting to see Penny in the show and to see The Big Bang Theory in the sky. If that's what you're looking for, and if that's what you're expecting, you're A, not going to get that, and B, you're going to be quite surprised by the direction that this show goes in. Yes, there is a comic element to it, but it's far darker, far classier, far more twisted and turning, far more exciting than anything that you will ever see in a sitcom. This is a show that has been crafted carefully to keep you on the edge of your seat. Right, back to what's going on. Cassie is a flight attendant with a drink problem. Every time someone orders a drink on the plane, she has one. She is the life and soul of the party in many ways, but unfortunately it means that her life at times spirals out of control. And this particularly comes to a head in the first episode of the first season of the show, when she goes away and drinks with a man that she meets during her work. He is a mysterious billionaire, and she wakes up after a night of passion with him to find that he is dead. He is surrounded by blood, and that's where the story of the flight attendant really starts to kick into gear, and that's where it goes from just a story about a flight attendant to a story about something much more. Right, so what do you do if you wake up and you are surrounded by blood and you're next to a dead body? Well, of course, you hide it all, you clear it away, and you scarper. And that's exactly what Cassie does, and she returns from Bangkok, where the incident happens, to America. However, unfortunately for her, this is a matter that was always going to get investigated, and suddenly she and the flight crew are under investigation as to what might have happened. And it turns out that the guy involved, who has died, was just not the average businessman. He was involved in all sorts of things that were of interest to the government, which means that she is potentially here in a lot of trouble. Now, because she was drinking so much, and this is something that's common in her life, she has blacked out on what happened that night. However, throughout the show, we start to see little parts of what happened that night being pieced together. This is done in a really interesting way. We see scenes of her in discussion with the man who is now dead, but we are also led to believe that there was someone else involved in what happened that night. So I don't want to tell you any more about what happens in season 1, because that's the fun of watching season 1. Now, if you're here to find out a little bit more about season 2, we're going to talk about some of what happens there, but we're going to need to be careful that we don't have spoilers. Now, in season 2, we see Cassie, whose life has changed. Now, if you don't want to know what happens because you haven't watched season 1 yet, then do turn away now or put your fingers in your ears. I'm afraid that it's probably not that much of a spoiler to say that in season 1, her life has become chaotic, it's become messy, and there is one constant in all of those things, and that has been her problem of drinking. Now, in season 2, we see her after almost a year of being sober, and her life has changed, and apparently for a lot of positive reasons. She seems to be in a relationship that is positive. She seems to be enjoying her work and her life more, and all of the things that have happened outside of the flight attendant side of her life in season 1, i.e. the stuff to do with the government, and I won't talk any more about that, has become a much more prominent part of her life in season 2.
I'm still a flight attendant, and I've been making better choices. I moved to LA, met this great guy, picked up a part-time job. I kind of feel like I'm turning into this whole new person.
In season 1, we saw one side of Cassie, and Kaley Cuoco really was amazing in season 1 with this kind of performance of chaos, this life which was always on the edge, where she was always feeling like she was going to come off of the rails, and then as things spiral out of control, we kind of see her do that. And the way that the show explored her childhood and how she ended up where she had got to was really interesting. Now in season 2, because she's in a different place and everything's not all right, because I don't think everything's ever going to be quite all right in Cassie's world, but things are different. She's in a different place, so we get, as the viewer, to explore a different side of her, but we also see a return to some of the excellent techniques visually and script-wise that are explored in season 1, of the way that she can talk to herself, she can talk to people who aren't there, and we see scenes that really draw you into these interesting, intriguing kind of worlds where it's dreamlike. The Flight Attendant is actually based on a 2018 novel, and I think initially it was designed to be a limited series, just to be that one run which would tell the story and then would end. But of course, and quite inevitably, when a show becomes such a big success, and The Flight Attendant when it came out in season 1 was a success, and it earned nominations of the Emmys and the Golden Globes for Kaley Cuoco in a fantastically performance, and it was celebrated by fans and critics alike. It's fairly inevitable that they're going to find a way to take it to a season 2. Now that's sometimes going to have you worrying if you like a show and you like a concept, because of course without the source material you might worry that it's going to go off the rails, it's going to go in its own direction, and that direction might not be as good as the first one. Well, I'm here to tell you that I think that this has worked, and it's worked really well, and it continues to be quirky, it continues to be interesting, dynamically made. It takes you on lots of weird and wonderful paths. This is a show that will keep you thinking, but it's also funny. You know, it is a comedy, it is a drama, it's a thriller. It's got a little bit of everything, and the way that it's been shot, the way that it's been put together, the scenes with Kaley Cuoco talking to herself in different places, the hallucinations, the doppelgangers, and I don't want to give away too much of what happens in season 2, but all of these things make it a show that is different to a lot of stuff that you see on television. And you know what? It's nice to see something different. It's nice to see a different angle on television, and The Flight Attendant gives you that. If you are asking yourself the question, should I go and watch The Flight Attendant from the beginning because I haven't seen it before, or you're asking yourself the question, should I watch season 2 of The Flight Attendant after having seen season 1, the answer is in fact the same. So I could have just said, go and watch The Flight Attendant. Yes, it's good, it's a great show, and you're going to enjoy it. If you want to watch it and you're in the UK, it's available now on Sky Max, or if you want to stream it through your streaming service, it's also available through Now. If you're in the US, you can watch it on HBO Max. So there's a lot of Max ways that you can watch this show, and I recommend that you go and do it.
I can't have a drink, because if I have one drink, bad things happen.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, why not hit the like button, and of course you can subscribe to the channel to make your streaming life better. Until next time, we'll see ya.